Hey everyone, this is Bobo. I'm here to do a video on Moonlight Island. It is a new addition added to Mabinogi and is basically a much more fancier version of our homestead. In my video, I'll tell you guys all you need to know about Moonlight Island and some tips, so let's begin. To create your island, you will first need to go to Tara and visit Sinead in Wrath Royal Castle to complete the quest that they provide you. Then you can create the name of your island and voila, your island will be created, just like that. Easy. There will be an NPC named Amelia at the center of your island to help you through the Moonlight Island tutorial, but if you're like me and you kind of skip through a lot of the dialogue, you can always go back to her and ask for help. Now after you've created your island, you will notice that your homestead button now opens a different window. Your old homestead is still there, so don't worry, you can always go back to it, but you will also see that it'll show both your homestead and Moonlight Island and a featured island from another player you can visit. There's also a list of activities happening in both areas so you can keep track of what's completed or still in progress. The items you can use to decorate your island are the very same green homestead sprouts you can put down on your homestead. However, keep in mind, not all of these sprouts can be used on your island and vice versa. If you now hover over your decorative homestead sprouts, it would actually tell you if it's allowed on your island or not. Most of the items I've seen so far can be used on your island, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. But just remember this before you go off and start buying sprouts. If you're wondering what's the difference between a Moonlight Island and a homestead, besides the obvious fact that your island is an island, one of the differences is that you now have the ability to manipulate the landscape. Yep, you can raise the land and add hills, or you can lower the land and create lakes or oceans. A new addition that they also added to the construction list for both areas is that you can now craft an engineering rack, magic cauldron, and a windmill. Homesteads will still be the only place you can choose between a grassy, snowy, or desert area. Moonlight Island will also not accept stats from homestead items or have pet expeditions, blossoming cages, your house with your house brownie, and your partner's ability to stay on the island, so keep that in mind. Although you may not be able to have your partners chill on your island, Moonlight Island offers you the ability to recruit NPCs called Islanders to stay on your island and craft for you. They can be set to idly roam around your island or focus on crafting items under tailoring, cooking, medicine, smithing, or carpentry. All these NPCs have their own stats, and you'll have to choose between which production skill you want them to focus on, so choose wisely. You can though, however, reset their skill points for your islanders, but it's gonna cost you some gold. You'll also need to upkeep their satisfaction and endurance by feeding them food that you craft yourself or the islanders craft. Each islander has a specific favorite food, but honestly, crafting their favorite food only gives a slightly higher amount of satisfaction compared to any dish, and it might be too much of an effort to make. You cannot choose the look of your NPCs, but you can always change the outfits in their inventory and have them wear a wig if you want to change their hair. You can basically dress them up however you like, just like your partners, and they'll show up wearing what you put on them on the island. Now on Moonlight Island, you'll need to build production plots for your islanders to craft on. There are different sizes of plots, but I just end up getting the largest one because why not? Your island can fit them all, so don't worry. You will have to first craft a list of items for each type of production plot in order for you to get your islanders to start crafting for you. Hint, Amelia on your island sells some of these items, so if you're too lazy to craft, you can just go check out her shop and buy them at a really cheap cost. Now once you've placed down the item within the plot space, you will see that it'll turn yellow to show that it's been completed. After you've completed the entire list, you can level up your plot to increase the amount of workers that's going to work on that plot and increase the production capacity. Now in order to do this, it's kind of tricky. When you click on your production sign, you'll notice that it's just going to open the crafting window for your NPCs. What you do is actually right click the sign instead and choose the first option. You will see a list of items to craft again, and after you've completed it, your plot will level up and allow an additional worker on the plot. Repeat the process again until you hit the max level at 3. Be sure to right-click the sign when you're not in edit mode. So when you're in edit mode, this whole screen turns yellow. The floors are like yellow squares. So that's how you know if you're in edit mode. If you're in edit mode, it won't show up. But if it is not in edit mode, it will show up. Now that you've got your own plot, you can now put down your islanders on the plot to craft. In order to do this, click on the Islander Management button and go to Place Islander on the upper left. Then place your Islander on the right side of the list where it says Islanders Available. If you wish to have your Islander not work on the plot but just roam around your island, place them on the left side where it says Islanders Present and click Place. Doing so will let them roam around the island, however, they will not appear as an option to craft on a plot. To change it back, click your Islander in the Place Islander screen and click on them to move them back to the right side of the list and press Place. Now they will show up as an option to craft on your plot. Now, islanders are not slaves. You will still need to provide them cooked meals to replenish their endurance to craft and their satisfaction so you can withdraw the items they crafted. The easiest way to do that is to create a cooking plot and have the islanders just cook their own meals, because they will not eat any food that you buy from other NPCs, and cooking food yourself can be a tiring chore. The upside to cooking yourself though is that you can make higher quality dishes, which means more satisfaction points, especially for their favorite meals. This is only worth doing if you're planning to take a lot of the crafted items from your islanders. Now, to craft an easy meal, go to either your food truck shop or Glenish's shop to buy carrots, cabbage, and celery to make a celery salad. Do not make dishes like mixed vegetables, because technically that's an ingredient to cook with and not an actual dish they can consume. Only do this if you plan on having them cook more complicated dishes, otherwise you're stuck with wasted inventory space. After buying all 3 ingredients, you will see that this recipe is only level 1, which means you only need 1 islander with level 1 cooking. After placing your islanders in the production screen, change the amount of dishes you can make to the maximum. You will notice that your islanders' endurance will drop when they have to craft more. This means you will need to feed them to replenish that bar. After starting the production, you will notice you'll see your islanders crafting on the plot near the required items that you've placed down to create the plot. Now don't remove those items, otherwise you won't be able to craft. Now while your islanders are crafting, this is a good time to feed them. To feed your islander, click on the Islander Management button and select the islander with low endurance. Click on Give Food below the endurance bar, and you will see the selection of food you can offer to them. Feeding them will replenish their endurance and satisfaction, but note that when you're feeding them the same item repetitively, the amount of satisfaction will decrease to the point that it can go into the negatives. Now, this hasn't been an issue for me even after I've repetitively kept feeding them celery salad, because eventually over time, if you wait a bit, the satisfaction will go back up for the dish. So normally after they finish crafting, that's when the satisfaction will go back to 3 instead of going to 1 or 2. Now the purpose of having high satisfaction is so that you can actually withdraw the items that they've crafted. There is an inventory for your island, and by withdrawing items that they've crafted, it's going to lower the amount of satisfaction on the island. So when that happens, you will need to replenish the satisfaction in order to withdraw more items. Keep a good look on this bar because you could max out the satisfaction, and at that point you might as well just start withdrawing stuff because you can't really stock up on satisfaction. If you wish to help your islanders finish their craft sooner, after setting up their craft task, click on the production plot sign and you will now see an option to help them by providing a specific item to decrease the crafting time. Sometimes you might not like what you see, so you can spend a bit of gold and change this requested item. Personally, I'm more of a set it and forget it type of person, But if you want to speed up the crafting process, this is how you do it. Another way to get the most out of your crafting process and to level up your islanders faster is to combine workers with similar production skills. In doing so, you can craft higher difficulty crafted items based off of their levels. So, for example, if you put 2 islanders with a level 3 carpentry skill, together they will be able to craft a level 6 item on the list. Adding one more person with a level 1 carpentry, well, now 3 of them can craft a level 7 item. Now the next question is, how do I get more islanders on my island? Now a guaranteed way is to complete the G26 main story quests and side quests. You'll be given 2 NPCs, so definitely complete that if you haven't done so. Another way is to just basically cross your fingers and hope that they show up on your island randomly. And when they do, they'll be giving you a quest that you have to complete, and completing so, it will give you an invitation that you can use to add them on your island. If you end up running into the same islander that you already have, don't ignore them. Basically, if you talk to them and do their quest again, they will give you a journal entry instead of an invitation. These journal entries are needed to level up their individual stats, which honestly is going to take forever to complete, so please do not ignore them if you see them. Now eventually at some point you might run out of space for your islanders, and you might run into an islander that you want to keep but you don't have the room for them. Now how do you get rid of an islander you don't want? Basically, go to your islander management button and click on details, and you'll see a send off button. Sending them off will get rid of them from the list, so be sure to choose wisely who you want to send off. Now some people are going to wonder, why do I want to send people off? Well, not all islanders will have the same stats. You'll see that some of the islanders have different stats than others, some are better, so you might want to compare which ones have the better stats. Some of them have more slots for production skills and exclusive islander skills, so be sure to check that before you send off an islander. Now not only islanders will be visiting your island, but also actual Mabinogi NPCs like Duncan. Duncan is probably the best one to look out for, so if you see him, buy everything he's got, because he's got a lot of good materials that you can only find off of him. These materials are materials that you will need in order to expand your island. Now some of these materials you don't have to actually just get from Duncan, you can actually craft them yourselves. In order to do this, open your Moonlight Island skills button and you'll see a list of tabs for each production skill. There's one for each one, and basically as you click through them, you'll see that they also have an unlock special recipe button. There's also 3 tabs for production, satisfaction, and islander, which all have a variety of different skills you can level up, and one of my more favorite ones is to increase the more hireable islanders on your island, so that way you can have more islanders. But to craft the special item, once you've unlocked the special recipe, go to the plot that you're going to craft with, and under the special tab on the upper left corner, you will now see the item you can craft with. Now some of you guys are gonna be like, well, this is gonna take me forever to unlock all the special recipes. Well, just know that you do have to reset your skills and move your special recipe option around if you want to craft something else as the best way to craft your item, because there's not always going to be enough points for you to craft everything. Also, one very important thing for those that are crafting on your island, you'll notice as you craft more and more, your level is going to increase for your island. Eventually, at some point, it's going to max out. So that means you'll have to click on the unlock level on the upper right corner to level up your island. So don't forget to do that. At some point, once it maxes out, it won't just unlock itself. So you'll have to unlock it. Otherwise, you'll waste all those EXP. Now, for those that are wondering what production capacity is, it is basically a, durability bar for your island. Eventually, as your islanders craft more and more, the production capacity will decrease, which is basically the wear and tear of all the tools on the island. So you can see here on the list, on the upper right corner, I don't know if you guys can kind of see it, but it does show you how much of the production capacity will decrease as you craft items. It's not really a whole lot that will decrease, but eventually it could add up and you might need to repair the production capacity for certain Moonlight Island quests. So if I were you guys, do not repair this meter at all until you feel like you have to. Let it go down. The reason why I say this is because at some point you might have to repair a lot of points for the quest and you might not have any to repair with, so yeah. Anyways, to repair, you can get the repair tool from Amelia on your island, so you can buy that from her. You can also buy a bunch of other things from her as well, and some of the items are very limited per week, so be sure to check out what she has to offer. And that's my video on Moonlight Island, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. If you guys have any tips or tricks you want to share with anyone else that's watching this video, please leave them in the comments below for everyone to see. Basically, Moonlight Island is a glorified homestead. Once you got it set up and decorated, it's gonna look amazing. So I can't wait to see everyone's island and how you guys decorate them. Thanks again for watching my video, and like always guys, please stay awesome.